Good morning, good morning, good morning again, everyone. Welcome to today's final front load and another Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, and I do apologize for how my screen just froze. Wonder if they'll Darth Vader my voice again. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article and share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC ever actually decides to see through with their threat. Also included in there, the Ozark's first article in regards to Agape boarding school, also known as Stone for Help boarding school situation, a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor, still on the premises with full access to the boys, up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault to the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens and badly photoshopping, I might add. Like, dude. And trying and failing to defund public libraries to actually do his job, and you got a governor off his nut. So send help, read that article, share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates and the ever-present, self-explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, folks, please go ahead and use the headphones, all right? Trigger warning. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised, all right? All right, let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, and before we do, can I state that getting older sucks? I know I don't look it, but I'm pushing 40 and I'm feeling it every day, especially as we are changing over into fall. Like my entire back hurts. My entire back hurts. And all I did was wake up. Reminds me of that Dana Carvey special. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's called Squatting Monkeys Tell No Lies. There's a particular bit in there when he's like, and then you get older and you wake up and you go, ah, what's the matter? I took a nap. I can't take those naps anymore. They're killing me. Facts, though. Facts. Now we'll get into it. Although much of the existing law is at this point inconsistent in a number of ways, recently passed or proposed legislation and regulations suggest a trend in the direction of stronger protections against the misuse of aversives. I would hope so. But I don't have a lot of faith in these politicians. Can you tell? Perhaps it's because I've been dealing with them in my state, in particular, a GOP hellscape, for too long. But yeah, Yeah. Excuse me one moment. Allergies. Specifically, the new law explicitly prohibit a number of techniques entirely and places significant limits beyond those established in many, if not the majority, of previously existing state law on the use of those practices that they still allow. In regards to this, we're talking about restraint here. As far as what those limits are, it's the same limits that you would find like within the setting of a hospital, folks. Okay? It would be the exact same types of regulations that people like my mom have to adhere to in regards to potentially dangerous patients. Okay? Strictly monitored, strictly regulated, where if you don't follow those guidelines, you can find yourself on the end of a pink slip. Yeah, those. In particular, if passed, the federal Keeping All Students Safe Act would provide safeguards that exist in few, if any, states, in particular on the use of what interventions are allowed and under what circumstances on a consistent national level. This brings me back to what I was talking about in a previous video. Remember when I said when this stuff gets left up to the states, it leaves way too much up to interpretation, and because of that, it might as well not be on the books at all. Yeah. This act, part of the reason why it was created is to fill in those blank spots with very explicit language. It also is acting as a means to set federal, not state, but federal, across the board protections. So there's no more, we're protected in this state, but not in this state. This is permissible here, but it's not permissible there. This does away with that. Okay? Which is a good thing because most of us disabled folks, we're broke. Okay? We're not raking in the millions of the dollars in spite of what the GOP tries to tell you about Social Security. Because I can tell you, they have no idea what they're talking about. Not even close. And if any of these individuals tried to live off of Social Security, they might suddenly start be singing a different tune, but that's its own subject. Basically, what I am saying here is it does away with the confusion, it does away with the chaos, all right? I don't mind chaos. I like controlled chaos, all right? We all know this. I'm autistic. Of course, if there's going to be chaos, I would like it to be controlled and I like to be warned. Granted, this goes against the nature of chaos, but sue me. It does away with all of that so that regardless of what state the disabled person or person with mental health issues or so-called troubled person has, it's across the board and across industry protection so that people cannot continue to use, abuse, and torture any of us with impunity. Okay? It's federal checks and balances. However, even with these new and stronger laws, the issue of enforcement, either through litigation or by other means, would determine to what extent their provisions would meaningfully prevent the trauma, injury, and death that can result from the use of aversives. And here he's touching on it, folks. He's touching on it. Because a lot of people who are in Congress will basically take this bill and try to remove any and all power from the ability to be able to actually enforce those protections. Okay? And if you want to know why, look into how much money the JRC and the troubled teen industry brings in every year. That matter of fact, just with Agape alone, you will find that they contributed to several political war chests. Okay? I don't know if you ever watched that last Robin Williams special where he felt like that the Congress and senators should be wearing like stuff like the race car drivers too, with patches to those who donate to their war chest so we know who they belong to. But it applies here, okay? That's why he put that sentence in there. Because as hopeful as all of this sounds, we're jaded, folks. Those of us who've been in this fight, we're not the idealistic, neurodiverse community anymore who has trust in these folks. Our trust is gone. 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 This is why we need the populace's help outside of the neurodiverse community so much. We need more than just us to hold these people accountable to make sure that the consequences of going against these laws are substantial enough that they don't try to skirt around it. All right. We're going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. You will get my ranting video later today. I got to go kick my own butt. Bye-bye, everyone.